All right, welcome to Awakening Spiritual Intelligence. Today's theme is beauty. I'm Pauline, I am the tech lead here, and I can answer any of your questions. I'll be available in the chat throughout the meeting. And with that said, just really glad to see you all. And I will hand it over to Yosi, who will be leading us today. Take it away, Yosi.
Thank you. Thank you, Pauline. Hello, hello, you beautiful beings, whoever and wherever you are. As Rumi invites us, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. It doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despairs. Come, even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Come yet again, come. So here we are, we have arrived through whatever journey life has taken. It has brought us all, this collection of human souls together, forming a web of connection across our planet, our Mother Earth. So let's just all take a moment and appreciate the different sparks of light and beauty that are right now helping awaken humanity and heal our Mother Earth so she may continue to support and nourish our life on this planet. Please take a moment in the chat, type in the location where you are plugged into this power grid from. I am near Santa Cruz, California. Yeah. All right. Portland, Oregon, Mill Valley, California, Edmonton, Canada, from Kathy, Hal Aronson, Santa Cruz, Deborah, blessings in Wisconsin. Abel, hello from sunny Manchester, UK. Okay, exciting. We have Sonia from San Diego and Christophe from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Pleasanton, California. John, welcome. Maryland, George Simons, France. I'm not sure I know how to pronounce that. Côte d'Azur. Excuse my bad French. Maybe I'll get some coaching or training here. So it's exciting to see all these places on our Mother Earth plugged into this network of souls, of beings that want to awaken greater spiritual intelligence in the world and ourselves. So now let's see what is brought into the space here, what gifts life has given you. What are you carrying or holding in this moment? And by gifts, I don't mean just the quote unquote positive emotions. Those are definitely welcome as well, be it joy, happiness, excitement, or sadness, anger, or despair. I see all of you, all those parts are welcome. All are parts of the one divine creation we are a part of. They all have their gifts and message to give to us if we open to it. So if you're willing, please type in the chat 2, 3, or 4 adjectives of what describes your current state of being or your gifts from reality, from life in this moment. Got gratitude, sufferings, contentment, connectedness, grief. Okay. Anticipation, challenge, suffering from old age, arthritis, and all my friends are dead at age 7, age A7. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for bringing all of you, George, not just, what we like to hear or meet what others would like to hear. So we got contentment, connectedness, and grief. Beautiful. So we can hold it all. All has its beauty. All is part of life. Gratefulness, good health, long life so far. Beautiful, magical world to live in. Hagit, spring. Deborah, grateful for PhD, but concerned about bone scan results. Oh, yeah. Congratulations on your PhD, Deborah, and wish you well on the medical journey. You got tiredness, curiosity, perseverance, insight. Okay. Sorry about the misspelling. Okay, it's all scanning so, too fast. Life is moving fast. I appreciate all, even if I couldn't catch all your gifts. All these gifts are thrown at me, and I don't know. I have to keep up with all the gifts that life gives me. It's sometimes it's a challenge. So now, let's all just take a moment. I invite you to take a moment and tune inward to reflect on your intention for showing up here. And perhaps just take a moment to connect with that. It's so important that we are clear about our intention. It's kind of the rudder, it's our North Star, where we're going, so we can get back on track. And if you're willing, share that intention in the chat. And I'm going to share my intention as well, which is to connect with like-minded, resonant people, to receive and share some beauty. Reconnecting with my life's purpose, just to try something other than what I'm stuck in. Great. Since I used to live in Santa Cruz, I thought I'd see what kind of stuff is going on there. Nowadays, okay, it's been 30 years. I lived at a wonderful lesbian capital of the US with all that spirituality stuff. Awesome. Well, let's see if there's still good vibes in Santa Cruz coming your way. Balance beauty with challenge and problems. Yeah. To briefly connect with people in a calm space amid chaos of life. Feeling good, inspired, slow, and want to open to one of the biggest teachers in my life, i.e. beauty. Yes, beauty is such a beautiful, powerful teacher. Yes. So, okay, beautiful intentions, sacred intentions. And so we're gathered here to explore beauty, to open our eyes and our hearts to the beauty that's within, without, and all around. Beauty that is always and readily available, but yet we fail to see it. So let's see what some wise souls say about beauty. Confucius reminds us everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. And now I suspect that virtually every human being appreciates and loves beauty, probably one of the qualities that we all love to experience and share. Other things like love, everybody loves love, but we have all these mixed feelings. Am I going to be abandoned? Is love? We've had wounded. But I think beauty is just beautiful. It's pure. There's just feels like so positive. And not only beauty feels good for its own sake, but Dante Alighieri tells us beauty awakens the soul to act. So when we're experiencing beauty, our goodness comes forth. And Rumi advises, let the beauty you love be what you do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. So we all have our own unique gifts and beauty, and we want to express that in what we do, and we're all unique. There are hundreds and thousands of ways to serve, to bring our beauty forward. And another wise person, Richard Sissel, says, every year of my life, I grow more convinced that it is the wisest and best to fix our attention on the beautiful and the good. Yeah. So we want to pay attention to the beauty. So now let's just take a moment all and perhaps close our eyes, close your eyes and recall a moment or experience of beauty. Just in your own space and imagine it in the center of your heart or your chest. It could be a nature scene, a piece of art, a painting, a sculpture, music, or it could be a room or a home or a graceful way in which some individual athlete or a group or a team collaborates in the sports field, on the court, or in a meeting room. So whatever the word beauty evokes for you, just take a moment and bring that image to your mind. You close your eyes and take a few breaths with this image in your mind. And notice how your body is beginning to feel what happens to your breathing, your pulse rate, your heart, your chest, and what is happening to your emotional state. So let's see what effect beauty has on us. Just not too much, just tuning in, something we've seen. And if you're willing, briefly share the image that came to mind and what the effect of contemplating it has had on you. You can actually either raise your hand, unmute, and share here, or simply type into the chat again the image and a few adjectives to describe your experience and current state of being. So I'm looking here at the gallery view, and the whole space feels a little different to me. And anybody who wants to raise their hand, and Pauline, if you can notice that and let people speak, I invite you to share that with the group.
Yeah, anyone can feel free to unmute yourselves if you'd like to share.
Yeah, so Hal says, beauty opens my heart. John, seeing my wife with 2-year-old grandson. Kathy, feet in a mountain stream, looking at the pretty rocks near a waterfall. Give me a slight glimpse of peace and pleasure. Seeing the world come back together in the spring makes everything feel lighter. Our inner state of being and self-awareness is what activates the sense of beauty. Okay, beautiful.
And Deborah, I see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to share. I just moved to Wisconsin, so from Colorado. So I pictured the Flatirons in Boulder and the beautiful mountains and how peaceful I am there. But also, I really miss Colorado.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, moving from Colorado, not a small journey. We got a beautiful photo here, image, painting in the chat. So if you look at the gallery view now, I'm wondering if everybody would be willing to unmute and simply shout out a word or a phrase of what you're noticing and seeing. It's okay if we talk over each other.
Well, I'm slowing down and I'm more inner focused.
Uh-huh. Anybody else? More space, more silence, perhaps.
Nice to see some guys here.
Nice to see some guys, yes.
Hi, Yoshi. This is Sonia. I'm actually just wanted to chime in. And as I am reading the comments, listening, everyone talking, I think that at the end, it is beauty is a personal journey.
Uh-huh.
And it is moment by moment, and how can I express this? If you are, it's never gonna be the moment where you have the opportunity to stop the world, because I mean, especially if you're working, right? So as you can tell, I right now I'm working, but I wanted to make this moment where the concept of beauty, the concept of that inner peace, if you are working in a project, or if you are in interacting with others, that's what is going to be centering you in that moment, because it's difficult. The world is not going to stop for you, right?
Right,
So
right.
it is up to you, how you, the exercise that we just did right now on closing our eyes and, okay, what is that feeling, right? So it's not, you have to do it every moment.
Yeah, tune in. And I think what you're saying is so important. We'll get to that, which is, how can we discover beauty in the midst of our busy life and work and meeting? And we normally find beauty easily in nature, sunrise, sunset, in the forest, whatever. But can we find beauty in our room, in our life, and at work? Can we find beauty in a PowerPoint presentation or a report or a spreadsheet? And I'll talk about some of that some more. I think that is because the beauty is there, and hopefully we'll see how we can find ways to appreciate more beauty in the midst of our busyness. And so I think we all know that beauty has a profound positive effect on us. So why don't we appreciate it more? And I'm sure there are many reasons. For myself, I know one thing is that it's harder to appreciate beauty when I'm rushed and trying to drive and in my doing mode. I don't have the time to quote unquote slow down and smell the roses, as they say. So
I would like to add something right there, because you mentioned, right, that we can, the challenge is finding beauty in the middle of chaos. So when you were asking us to write down the, a word that identify that sense, I put gratitude. And personally, the challenge that I have, it's so easy for us to forget that beauty, right? So because you can be pumped up, right? So having a conversation with you or reading one of the chapters from the book, and then you turn around and you're having this difficult conversation, and then everything goes out the window, right? So it is, the key, it is how you, after having a great session with Yoshi or reading your book, or so capture that, and as you're having this, whether it's a meeting or you're reading an email, whatever it might be, so that you don't get, that it doesn't go out the window, right? And as you were talking right now, you reminded me, I don't know if, how Marcus Aurelius used to make the list every morning of the positives, even the people that got under his skin, so recognize a trait that it was positive. And I believe that beauty, it could be the positive, even in ugly conversation, or even in a difficult, chaotic conversation. So, because the word itself, as you can tell, English is my second language. When you said beauty, you in your mind's eye, it is a flower or something that is peaceful, right? But it doesn't have to be a flower or something peaceful. It has to be something positive, or something that is the goodness within the cage.
good, great. So let's see as we move forward if, and we'll come back to this issue you're bringing up. I think it's super important towards the end. I'd love to see how some of the exercise we do may help address some of these things. And I just want to say that, as you highlighted, we find the goodness, we're centered, we find the beauty, and then we get an email, we get in an argument with our partner, with our child, with our parent, whatever, and then everything, quote unquote, goes out the window. So, but I think in my mind, we can't expect to always be in that, like even the person who walked the high wire between the World Trade Center, they weren't always centered. If you notice, they were falling one side to another. So I think the challenge is how quickly we return to center. And as we practice and we rewire ourselves and we have the tools and the skills, it's just how quickly we do that, and how we can return to beauty and goodness and centeredness in the midst of that chaos. So and I love to help my clients find beauty in the midst of their busy, high-pressure jobs, as you're talking about. And they are CEOs in the tech world, and there's plenty of pressure and rushing. So, but when we calm our nervous system and open our mind and our heart to beauty, our creativity and problem-solving skills multiply. So this isn't just nice; it actually helps us function, be more productive. Just for an example, one of my clients who was stuck in addressing some design challenges with his product, and what he found himself doing pretty spontaneously is to go back to his backyard where he had a vegetable and flower garden, and there he would return to his desk just after 5 minutes, and he was always better equipped and felt more creative and was able to address the challenges. And so he kind of figured that out on his own. But that only worked for him at home. Some days when he was at the office, he couldn't go to the backyard. So what we worked on, so he just did what we did here. So when he was in the office, he didn't have access to his backyard. He just closed his eye and imagined himself in that backyard. And over a minute, he got 80% of the same benefit. So the point is, that's a tool we can use. If you have this image of something that evokes beauty for you and you could feel the effect of it on your nervous system and your heart opening and your breathing relaxing, then we could do that in the midst of our busyness. In a meeting, we're getting triggered. We feel our feet on the floor, close our eyes for a moment, tune into the beauty, and then we're more able to address the challenges in front of us. So the other thing I think it's important to understand is that we often think of beauty as a luxury, like, oh, we have an expensive piece of art or what have you. We take a day and we go hiking in the forest. We do some forest bathing. That's beautiful. But sometimes we don't have that capacity. And but in my mind, beauty is not just a luxury, it's fundamental. For example, one of the things I find very inspiring is that the stories that in the midst of the horror of the concentration camps during the Holocaust, prisoners would do art projects, they do painting, whatever they could to create and surround themselves with beauty, which helped them survive. So I'm trying to drive the point is that beauty is crucially important. It's not just a luxury. And Blaise Pascal says, in difficult times, carry something beautiful in your heart. And like I mentioned, beauty is much easier to notice and appreciate in nature, like this client was able in his backyard. But there are many other ways, whether it's art or music, but what about our ordinary lives? So, in other cases, working with clients, I talk about some of that in the book, they start noticing and appreciating beautiful presentations or an elegant spreadsheet that has beauty in it, or the way multiple people on a team collaborated on a project. Scientists and mathematicians find beauty in an equation. The cliche goes, beauty is in the eye or perhaps in the heart of the beholder. So, and I would say beauty, like porn, is hard to define, but you know it when you see it, they say. So, hope you don't mind my joking around. let's do some exercises here.
And before we do that, I see Teddy Mark, your hand is up if you wanted to chime in.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. When Yoshi, when you first asked us to get a picture in our mind of beauty and perhaps to be willing to express it, beauty, I'm in a really good place with beauty, I think, right now, a place I want to be. But the cloudiest scope of things in my mind that I've had contact and thought of as beautiful, you know, was you could see it. It was very chaotic for me. There were so many things. I didn't want to pick any one thing over any of the other things and express it. But I will express one now. And to me, it reinforces something you've just said. We're so eye-centered, what we see. Well, just yesterday, I work with a nonprofit that plants and deals with trees. And I was working with this woman as my partner planting a tree. And the person who kind of manages this walked up. And he and this woman struck up a conversation that I just so enjoyed. And when it was over, and this gentleman walked away, who's a friend of mine. I said, that was the most beautiful conversation. Just, it breaks me up. It was wonderful. And it reinforces what and where you might, for me, find beauty.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to say it's beautiful. I'm kind of sensitive to not use the word beautiful too many times, but you're talking about exactly the beauty of people coming together and collaborating and exchanging, and there's so much beauty in that interaction. So, I think that's a powerful principle, so that we could see and learn to appreciate that beauty is not just nature, it's not just art. It could be anywhere. It can be in the way people interact. Clearly, in a symphony or in a sports team, we see beauty. That's why we love to watch a great basketball game or whatever, and the way they pass and coordinate. But it could be in a conversation, could be in a work meeting, and people harmonize and exchange ideas, and that's beautiful. So anyway, so we're trying to open our eyes and our hearts, so find more and more beauty in more and more situations, and enlarge our concept of what beauty is like. So we want to do an exercise here. And I see Hagit, thanks for stopping by and saying hi. If you have to leave, maybe we'll connect some other time, but thank you. So we're going to move into an exercise, and we'll do that in dyads for about 20 minutes, which Pauline will describe and she and I will demo. And after the exercise, we'll have a 5-minute bio break, and we will return to the larger room here for a group share. And after that, we'll do another exercise, which will involve a guided meditation to help each of us open to and appreciate our own beauty, which is often the hardest to appreciate. And I'll explain more about that later. So let me turn it over to Pauline to describe our exercise, and we'll break you into dyads, and you'll hopefully do it and see what happens.
Thanks, Yosi. Yes, this is a great exercise, and it works really well in pairs. So it's going to be done where I'll send everyone to a breakout room. And the interesting part is when you first get to your breakout room, the invitation is to just connect in silence. So I know that might be a little uncomfortable or awkward, but the invitation is to just be with each other. Notice what you see, and also really pay attention to your inner experience in the moment of just being with this person who you probably don't know, or maybe you do, but just having that chance to share presence together. And this might be about 30 seconds to a minute or a little longer in case I have to reshuffle any of the rooms. So if you're by yourself for a moment, please just sit tight. You can look at your own image and be with yourself because I will be sending someone to the room to join you, so you won't be alone. This might take me a second to coordinate. And then my voice will broadcast through the speaker, telling you it's time to switch and move into the second segment, which is introducing yourselves. So now you can bring in that normal small talk. But we do really want to invite you to wait to say hello until I invite you to switch to talking. And you can share where you're calling from, your intentions for being here, or what has you interested in spiritual intelligence. So that'll be about a minute per person. And then once again, I'll broadcast my voice through the speakers and say it's time to switch to the main exercise, which is called Spot a Spot. And you'll choose one person to lead first. And whoever's leading, you're going to direct your partner to look somewhere around their environment. So wherever they may be in their home, your room, and find a spot, and they'll say they've got it. And then you say, tell me something about it that grabs your attention. So let me just put that into the chat so that you can see what I just shared. And then I'll put this in the meeting breakout chat as well. It'll come up really small at the top of your screen. But you can also scroll back in the history to this main chat to see the wording here. So tell me something about it that grabs your attention is the prompt. And then basically they're going to respond with a sentence or two without describing what exactly they're looking at. They're going to share the raw perception of that object or that spot. It doesn't have to be an object necessarily. It could be a shadow. And it's fine if there is a story behind it. Maybe it's something that has a meaning to you, but it doesn't have to be. It could be that you see the play of light on something, or the curvature or the texture of something, or color. So again, not really sharing what it is, but just sharing what grabs your attention. And Yosi and I will demo this in a moment so you can get more of a feel for it. So you're going to repeat that then. So once they share what grabs their attention, you ask them again to find a spot, and they'll get another spot. And again, tell me something about it that grabs your attention. And we'll continue that for about 5 minutes. And once again, I'll come on with my voice and say it's time to switch to the monologue. So the person who was looking around, now it's their chance to share what the world looks like now after doing that exercise. Has your perception shifted at all? Maybe your sense of time has shifted a bit. And I'll also put that in the chat right now so you can see. This is for the monologue after the 5 minutes. There we go. And after sharing for a couple minutes, I'll tell you it's time to switch roles. And then you'll repeat the same thing, the 5 minutes of spot a spot and the 2-minute monologue afterwards. And after both participants have had a chance to try the exercise, you'll just sit in silence for about a minute together, like we did at the beginning. Might feel uncomfortable, but hey, maybe after doing the exercise, there'll be a little more space for that. So Christoph, the monologue is basically about how the world looks now to you after you've been spotting the spot for 5 minutes and sharing what grabs your attention or what you're appreciating about that thing you see, then sharing if anything is different in the way you perceive your environment or how you feel in that moment. Does that answer that?
Yeah, let's
Great.
try it, Pauline, and then we can ask for if there's any more questions.
Yeah, and just one more thing is after you sit in silence at the end for about a minute, you are going to get a chance to debrief with your partner just to share how was that whole process for you. So that'll be the entirety of the breakouts. And then when you come back to the main room, we'll have a 5-minute bio break, bathroom break, and then we'll come back and share as a big group. Okay, Yosi, let's demo and then see if there are any questions after we demo. So I'm going to bring us up onto stage here. Let us spotlight the both of us. Okay, and I'm wondering, would you be willing to be guided by me in the exercise?
Okay, sure. So you're gonna have me spot a spot? Okay.
I am. So when you start, you can always, decide amongst yourselves who wants to go first. So whoever's directing, as I put in the chat, direct your partner to look around. So Yosi, look around. Is there something that grabs your attention?
Yeah, so you just say spot a spot. Yeah, the corner of the room here where the two walls are coming together. Actually, yeah, I got it.
Okay, so you actually wouldn't be sharing what it was, right?
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah,
doing
I
that for
made the mistake. I made
effect.
the mistake.
There we go, a teaching moment. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're just gonna look around and you just only say, got it.
Yeah.
So tell me something about it that grabs your attention.
Just the way the light and the shadow on the different walls and the ceiling come together.
Thank you. Spot a spot.
Got it.
Tell me something about it that grabs your attention.
Just the way the veins of the petal are spreading out.
Thank you. Spot a spot.
Got it.
Tell me something about it that grabs your attention.
The vibrant purple color of the flower.
Thank you. So now we'll pretend we did 5 minutes of that. And now, how do you feel? How is the world looking to you after that?
I don't know, the colors feel a little brighter and it's feeling the energy of the room has slowed down. There's also a sense of sacredness that's coming over me. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of interesting.
Thank you. We'll pretend that was a 2-minute monologue. I really appreciated hearing that.
Yeah.
And let's pretend we both had a chance to go already. So then we would sit in silence when I say it's time to just be with your partner again. And you have a chance again to notice what it is to be together.
Yeah. Do you want to reverse roll or should we just open up to questions?
Let's open up for questions.
Okay, cool.
Was that clear or was anything needing a little more explanation?
I thought it was very clear.
Great, thanks, Hal.
And my question was, you were asking about what the world looks like now, but not really deeping into what are you feeling? It's really more about perception than feeling.
No, it can include feeling. It's just what you're experiencing in the moment. Like I did, I experienced a sense of sacredness that came up to me. It was a feeling. So yeah, could be any of all, whatever is alive for you in the moment, what you're feeling, what you're perceiving, how the world looks, perception, time, anything.
Yeah, great question, because maybe I could say, and this is what happened last time I did the exercise, that I felt like I landed in my body more. I could feel my feet on the floor and the effect of gravity supporting me. And I see another question. How long for the last debrief time together? So after you sit in silence for about a minute, the final debrief where you share your experience with your partner is 2 minutes.
And Pauline is going to time call you on to the next thing. So you don't have to remember all the details. We'll kind of.
How?
It is just a technical question. I get bumped off the internet about every 15 minutes. When I get bumped off, will I come back into the breakout room?
You'll come back into this main room, but there will be a button called breakout rooms. I'll be here to help you. So I can help you get back to the breakout. So whoever your partner is, I'm glad you mentioned that. So your partner will be aware that you might pop off, and that's a part of the beauty of technology. We'll work with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline.
All right. So I think it's time, and I'm gonna go ahead and pause the recording. Go ahead.
Okay, what a wonderful world it is, indeed, indeed. Thank you. So I had the privilege of actually doing the exercise, so which was fun. And yeah, I got to experience it again, taste some of my own medicine. So I can't wait to hear how it was for you. We're running a little behind schedule, which I'm excited about because we're getting some good participation. But we'll shorten this a little bit so we can get to the meditation I want to do, which is helping us discover our own beauty. And so yeah, anybody care to share about your experience? Raise your hand, unmute.
I'll just share, Christoph wrote, the experience was easier and nicer than I first expected. Happy to hear that. And Yosi, did you want to share anything about how it was for you? While we're waiting for more people to either write in the chat or find some words to share through audio.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed noticing, you know, the eyes, my eyes get caught in things that, you know, like there was a piece of dirt on my carpet and that's what caught my eye. But the contrast between the color of the carpet, which is kind of off-white, and I don't even know what it is, was kind of interesting. I found beauty in that. Or so I just find it fascinating the way our eyes are automatically finding things that capture our imagination without looking at it. The other thing is, at the end of the exercise, I felt the face of my partner radiant, and I couldn't tell if it was because the my perception shifted, or through her doing the exercise, she was more in touch with beauty and radiance, and or both. It was kind of fun to see how just that contact felt very different, and there was more radiance coming through.
Yeah, and Kathy, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to unmute.
Thanks. Yeah, it was good for me, surprisingly. When you first introduced what we were going to do, I was tempted to leave the meeting, and I thought, okay, I can leave the meeting and, be here by myself, or I can give it a shot. And I'm really glad I stayed because it got me out of myself, out of my own mind where, I spend most of my time. And I realized I could be, happier and calmer than I normally am here by myself, just spending some time with a complete stranger and sharing a few nice things. So I really appreciated it.
Mm. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, a stranger, and you just do this exercise and something shifts.
For me, I really, I'm always thinking that when I want to see beauty, I need to go out in nature and leave the house. And but I collected so many facts over my life that I was just noticing things that I've used to populate the room that I never look at. And so the idea that I could just appreciate beauty without going anywhere was really fulfilling.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I would like to share something, and I'm apologies, Joshi and Pauline, that I didn't participate in the exercise. It was right there in the moment, when I receive a phone call, I'm dealing right now with some issues, and I'm like, oh, but what I can share from you, I had the screen, and all of you were there, so all of you helped me to have that center and not to, not that beauty to go out the window. And I had, even though it was not an easy conversation, it helped me not to get the negative overpower, the beauty of this session. Because even just looking all of you in all the tiles, and how you were having the breaking for the breakout rooms, it helped me just to have that shift my mindset I think that also beauty helps you to shift that mindset and going from is anybody familiar with the oscillate on the alternate current, you know, the ups and downs, right? So the distance between the positive and the negative, you know, in how fast you go. So all of you help me to, you know, to stay in the in the positive rather than the negative. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's what you were talking about before the exercise, that when there's beauty, you can deal with difficult situation better. Yeah, Hal has his hand raised, so go ahead, Hal.
Yeah, well, one, I thought that the exercise immediately created intimacy, and I was struck by the face of the person that I was interacting with. I just loved how her face was aging over time, and then everything I looked at, it didn't really matter what I was looking at. Everything was beautiful. I mean, there's beauty in everything I looked at, and so it was just a great way to start by first really paying attention to the person that I was engaged with, sharing the exercise with.
Yeah, so there was intimacy, and then your eyes opened and saw beauty in everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is what Confucius was telling us. So
There you go.
there
Can't go wrong with Confucius.
yeah. Okay, who else? Anybody else? Deborah.
So I had an experience a lot like Laura, where there's this, I'm in my study and I look at these things every day. I've had them for years. And now, and then I saw details that I don't think I've ever seen. And, you know, like there's a meadow in that painting. I never looked at that. I never realized that before. And it was also, I think, my partner shared very deeply of herself, and it gave me permission to also go deeper than I probably would have. So I thought it was very valuable in the discussion.
Yeah. So her sharing deeply inspired you to share deeply, and you started noticing things that have a lot of beauty that you don't normally pay attention to.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. One more? Anybody else? Okay. Well, David Carson tells us when we get close enough, when we truly open all of our eyes, not only the ones on our face, we discover that concealed deep within the obvious lies the magic of all magics, the magic of the ordinary. So I think that's a little bit of what we are experiencing. And the magic of the ordinary. When you stop and think about it, how there is all this stuff, it's pretty magical, but that's a whole other talk that I have recorded a short video on. I won't belabor that. So, you know, but it's great that we discover how slowing down and paying attention, we start open the aperture of our eyes and our hearts, and we notice and find more beauty in the midst of the mundane and the external objects and the other people, and not just the physical beauty according to our cultural norms, like Hal talked about. You know, there's beauty in the face, whatever, regardless of age or anything. So I imagine that you've encountered some people in your life, despite their age or anything, something about them, their face, their soul, their spirit radiated. They looked radiant and beautiful, and we might call that grace. So yeah, so Liv Taylor says it this way: there's no definition of beauty, but when you can see someone's spirit coming through, something unexplainable, that's beautiful to me. Now, so that's seeing the beauty, the spirit of others. Now, it's what's frustrating though is that it's so easier for us to see and appreciate the beauty of others, yet it's much harder to see and appreciate our own. We know our own blemishes, our shortcomings all too well. You know, like this morning when I looked at the mirror, first thing I check is notice, are there few new white hairs in my brow, or how some hair is sticking out of my nose that needs to be trimmed? I'm like, we're so, I don't know about you, but I tend to notice those things first. So so many of our clients and others are so vigilant scrutinizing ourselves, which is not just at the physical level, but reviewing and highlighting all our shortcomings, on the ways that we fall short of our ideal and of the self we aspire to be. Now, while it's beautiful and powerful to aspire to improve, it's a shame that because of that, we fail to appreciate our beauty in the process. Because when we notice and appreciate the ways in which we're already beautiful, the ways we're growing and expressing a lot of the virtues, it not only it motivates and energizes us to continue to grow and develop and get closer to the person we aspire to be. So appreciating our beauty is not a narcissistic thing. It can become a vanity project, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about finding our beauty so we can, you know, radiate our own light and help shine the way to improve and spread more light in the world, to help ourselves and others shine their own light. Hope I'm making sense. So let's see if we can help us do a little more of that in this guided meditation. So I'm gonna pause here for a second and find a comfortable seated position. You might want to also find a comfortable position with you know, your spine upright and straight. If you need to lie down and that's relaxing, you could do that. Just try not to fall asleep. Yeah. So in this guided meditation, we'll follow through 3 parts. First, I'll guide you through the inspired protocol, which is out there on my YouTube channel. And it's a protocol to help relax, open, and expand our consciousness and tune us inward. The second piece will be, you will imagine walking through a meadow and then a forest. And that could be a meadow or forest you've been to, or something you could construct in your imagination, just whatever comes up in the moment. There's no right or wrong about any of this. And then, guided through this meadow and forest, you will come to a place where you will encounter some of your favorite people, people that you are most comfortable with, that know you the best. And it could be anywhere from 1 to 2, 3, 4, or up to 5 people max. So these are the people that know you, that you're comfortable with. And I'll guide you through this. You don't need to rehearse it ahead of time or think about it too much. Whatever comes up for you will be right. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. So just trust your experience. Okay, so let us begin. We're just finding this comfortable seated position, spine upright, supporting relaxation and alertness, feet flat on the ground. And beginning with the inspired protocol, letter I, inward gazing. N, nostril breathing. S, spine supporting, spirit soaring. P, posture aligning. I, inhaling, exhaling. R, relaxing, receiving, resting feet flat on the ground, connected to the center core of Mother Earth. E, expanding awareness. Sit bones, perineum and pelvic floor. Entire pelvis, pubic bone and hips. Lower belly. Diaphragm and solar plexus. Heart, chest, and lungs. Throat. Jaw. Tongue. Lips. Nose. Cheekbones. Eye sockets. And the space between them at the brow. Temples. And the space between them at the pineal gland. Crown top of the head. 10 inches above the head. Back of the skull. Back base of the skull at the occiput. Back of the neck. Shoulders. Shoulder blades. And the space between them at the back of the heart. Arms. Hands. Legs. Feet. Entire skeletal and bone structure as it supports the whole body, including the tissues and organs and blood vessels, Sensing the pulsating flow of the blood through the arteries, veins, and heart. Entire body. And the space all around it. The space above the head, how high does it extend? And the space down below, how low does it go? And the space in front ahead, does it have an end? And the space in back behind, where does it end? And the space in the heart and chest, how deep does it descend? Sensing the totality and vastness of space as it envelops, surrounds, and permeates the body. D, deepening into essence, dwelling in being, doing nothing, simply noticing, receiving, allowing the totality of reality. Resting in pure being. The simplicity of I am that I am, with its dynamic flow and dynamism of ever-changing, evolving experience, moment to moment. Being and ever becoming. Arising fresh, moment to moment. I am that I am. I will be as I will be. Continuing to rest and abide in being, letting the awareness, the consciousness settle down, drop and sink like a pebble through a body of water, finding its way to the bottom floor of the lake or the ocean, resting at the lower belly. Resting the awareness and presence in the lower belly, following the flow of the breath in the lower belly, while noticing the texture of this area. Does it feel more fluid or jello-like, solid like rock or metal, or more empty and spacious? Just following the breath there, following the texture, allowing it to be. One or two more breaths in the lower belly. And then on the next inhale, drawing the energy and the awareness and the breath up to the center of the chest, heart area. And noticing the texture and quality of the space there. Is it solid, liquid, fluid-like, or more spacious and open. And does it seem dark or light? And if it feels light, what color is it? Is it yellow, gold, green, purple, whatever it might be? Noticing the effect of that on you. And if there's light, what is the source of the light? Or it can be dark, noticing how that darkness affects you. How that dark space affects your energy, your emotional state. And is it entirely dark, or can you see a flickering star point of light in the midst of the darkness? And on the next inhale, drawing the attention and the awareness up to the third eye, the pineal gland, which is behind the brow and between the temples. And again, noticing the quality of this space, this area. And does it feel light or dark? And if there's light there, what color is it? White or blue, sky blues, indigo, purple, yellow? So 1 or 2 more breaths there, and then letting the awareness drop down back to the center of the chest, around the heart area. And now you could bring to mind the image and vision of a meadow. Could be a meadow you have been to, or one you construct in your imagination, in your mind's eye, and projecting it like a hologram in the center of your chest. And just as letting the image of the meadow form, noticing the vegetation that is there, plants, grass, flowers. What colors are you seeing? Is there any water element, perhaps a stream or a pond? And are there other living beings in the meadow? Be birds, butterflies, be cows or horses grazing. And just walking around, exploring the meadow gently, feeling the light breeze, perhaps the sunshine. And as you walk and explore the meadow, you're coming to the edge of the meadow where there's some trees. You begin to walk through the trees, and the density gets larger, and you're finding yourself walking through a forested area where the canopies of the trees are beginning to block more of the sunlight. So it's a little darker, but you could still see your way on the path. Hearing the crackling of fallen leaves, noticing the shape and texture of the bark on the trees. As it going deeper and deeper into the forest, gets a little darker. And again, noticing if there are any other living beings in the forest, any other birds or other creatures. And as you continue to walk on this forest path, you're coming to a circular clearing of a small meadowy place in this forest where the sun is breaking through. And it's a grassy area. And in the midst of that little open meadow, you see a blanket with a few people seated in a circle and are having a picnic. And they notice you walking, and they stand up, and you recognize these are a few of your favorite people that know you best, that you feel most comfortable with. And you're kind of surprised. What are you all doing here? And they're smiling back. Well, we were just talking about you. We're here to acknowledge and celebrate you. We are having a picnic celebration. Would you like to join us? So now you're seated with them on this blanket. They invite you to take off your shoes. And you have some of your favorite snacks together, just chatting and smiling. And you're kind of surprised. And after a while, they tell you, we'd like to do a little ritual with you if you're willing. If you are willing, we'll invite you to lie. We're going to move the food aside and we're going to invite you to lie on your back, kind of in a yoga shavasana pose. Your hands spread to the side a little bit, palms up, elbows resting on the ground, feet spread apart, perhaps a little bit more than shoulder width. And your friends, acquaintances, family members, lovers, whoever they are, just seated around you. And they ask your permission if they may touch you. You could decide if it's comfortable. You can have one of them put their hand on the ball of your foot, perhaps their right hand on the ball of your right foot, with their left hand on your kneecap. Another person mirroring it on the other side. Perhaps someone with their hand cupping your hand. Could be on the other hand, depending on how many people you have, you could just instruct them of how you'd like to be touched if you're comfortable. One of them could be putting their hand on the crown top of your head or your forehead. And just feel into the support of the ground and under your body, letting the weight of your body sink into the earth, feeling the support of Mother Earth through the grassy field and the blanket. And they tell you, we'd like to share some appreciations of you. So you got in your mind's eye who's there and where are they in the circle around you, if and where they're touching you. And just imagine each of them going around the circle, going counterclockwise. Each of them saying something that they appreciate about you from the time they've known you. And take your time, let it be slow. Just breathing in those words. Notice if you are able to open, to receive their appreciation, feeling their touch, the energy coming through their touch. Feeling the support of the ground, the floor below you. What are they appreciating? Your intelligence, your good heart, your creativity, your kindness, your compassionate heart, your steadfast commitment to personal growth, the ways you have supported them. Just breathing in and pausing between each of them, letting those words impact your tissue, your cells, letting every cell, fiber, and tissue of your body absorb the goodness that is being showered and transmitted. And there's nothing for you to do. You don't need to say anything back. You are just receiving. You can go around for one more turn. Hearing one more thing from each of them. Now they stop talking and you can just lie there, integrating, letting it touch and move you, however it does. And you can thank them for their kindness, for their care, for the gifts they have given you, mirroring back your goodness, your beauty, your virtues. They tell you it's their privilege and honor and pleasure to be sharing with you as you sit up and you look at their faces. They're smiling, beaming. They're so happy to see you receive their gifts. And you tell them, thank you so much. I'm going to need to get going soon, but it means so much to me. Your words, your gesture, your care. I tell you, we're always here in this spot, in this clearing. Whenever you need some nourishment, you can come here and we'll call on us and we'll reappear and give you a good dose of beauty and nourishment for your soul. So you may continue to do good in the world, helping yourself and others, spreading more love and more joy and more beauty. So in a moment, it'll be time for you to get up and you could acknowledge and thank them however feels appropriate through a hug or eye contact or just take another breath or two, basking in this light, this goodness that's coming to you as you turn back towards the forest, the path you came from, knowing you can always come back here. And know you have these loving, caring souls in your life that know you and appreciate you. And they can remind you of your goodness in moments of doubt. So you begin to enter the forest path again, getting darker. And again, you feeling the crackling of the leaves under your feet, seeing the bark of the trees, the canopy of the trees, getting a little darker until you're back close to the edge near the meadow, opening back to the meadow. This familiar meadow you've been to. Remembering your encounter. And then just finding a spot in the meadow to sit down and let your body and your psyche absorb all the nourishment you received. Just taking one or two more breaths, and when you're ready, letting your eyes open and receive the light and the sound of these words. And just looking around now and seeing how the world looks and feels. What's your sense of time? Okay, so we'll come back to a large group share here. We're running a little behind, or more than a little, but that's okay. Just a few words from a person called Steve Merriman. Everybody has wounds. Everybody has emotional scars. The antidote is to learn to see your life, learn to see yourself from God's point of view. Or, as the bumper sticker says, God, please help me see myself as my dog sees me. Okay, we'll open it up. Anybody who care to share about what that was like for you?
Well, I'll share. I haven't meditated before. I've done a little mindfulness, so I don't know if I was running from it, but I couldn't picture my friends saying all the nice things. I really wanted to picture myself running through the forest and jumping in the lake, and I don't know. So it was so different. So thank you for the experience, and I'll have to check into some more mindfulness stuff and see if it occurs again like that. If I'm running from something or if it's just how I am. I just like to be free. So thank you.
Yeah, so having them have you lie down in the middle circle felt confining. And so what did you do with that? Did you allow yourself to run free?
I laid there for a little bit and then I noticed my brain and I just ran. I just was like yeah, it was interesting.
And what was it like to run?
Freeing. I was enjoying myself.
And what's it like to tell us here now about it?
I honestly don't know. It's all of you are strangers, so it's just kind of like, well, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not, but here's how it was for me.
Okay, you're laughing. You seem very alive. You're free.
Yes, I am happy.
Okay, you're happy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So you had your own experience and it had you happy and you found your freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's beautiful in my mind.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I can share. I've done a lot of meditating and I have trouble with the visualizations, but I just, did my best. I don't really see things, but I more think of them and memories come to me. And so I just did my best with it. I found your voice very calming and gentle. And I find I sort of hit a place in myself, which is just sort of pain and awfulness. And it's hard to let the good stuff in. So it mostly just stirs up a lot of sadness in me, but I tried to just go with it and trust that, something on some level is being healed and give myself, some grace for making the effort. So thank you. Thank you for doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but it sounds like you have a lot of perseverance despite the pain and the doubts and whatever. You come back to the cushion, you come back to your practice. Would that be something that people who know you would appreciate about you, is your perseverance, tenacity, and
Yeah, a lot of people have definitely watched me struggle for a long time and they see good things in me and they would, like very much for me to experience it in myself. And maybe one of these days it will come if I just keep doing this.
Okay. So what else might some of those people appreciate about you?
Oh, they would say I'm intelligent and caring and kind and deep. thoughtful, all of those good things.
All those good things. Okay. Do they seem true?
They're true, and I see them, but for some reason, there's just a block in me somewhere. I don't know if it's physically or I don't know what it is. There's just this block of kind of awfulness in the depth of my being that I just can't move.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sounds painful. So, do you do any self-compassion practices?
I try, I try. It's hard. I'm kind of depersonalized these days, so I can't even find a self to be compassionate with. I just try and be compassionate with my experience and
Yeah. Yeah. What's it like to make contact with me right now?
you're very kind and gentle and calm, and
Uh-huh.
so I do appreciate this space.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm appreciating your genuineness and your earnestness. I don't know if anybody else is noticing that about you. You seem very earnest.
There seems to be no other choice. I'm just kind of going with it. This is what's happening, and
Yeah, so you're trusting. Okay.
I guess.
So you have some basic trust in your process and the way life unfolds through you. So that's beautiful. Yeah. Hey, anybody else want to say anything? What happened to you in the exercise? What's happening to you now as you hear some of the other voices?
I'm just really appreciating being in silence with everyone, remembering the exercise, even though I wasn't in a breakout group, I have a sense of just being together.
Yeah. I'm seeing what Angela wrote here. How touching, Kathy, for your authenticity and transparency. I so appreciate these things. Yeah. People have to hop. Um, in the circle, I preferred and liked better telling to do the people what I appreciate about each of them. Interesting. It's easier to appreciate others than to receive sometimes. Angela, hand is up. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Yosi and Pauline and everybody. Kathy, you just so inspired me to share. I wasn't going to share, but I relate so much to what you shared. Thank you so much for your dear beauty and courage. It's so, so touching. Such a mirror for me. And I wanted to share that in the visualization, the guided meditation, I was working with the trauma and the stuck areas in my body. Just, it's like the bane of my existence. Decades of trying to, doing this, doing that, healing this, and just this place that just is very challenging to it's just like trauma. It's just pretty frozen. And I've done all kinds of things. And accepting it too, But my journey has brought me so much that I'm gonna share with the world more and more. And so that's beautiful. But in the visualization, I realized that those blocks, that trauma in me that shuts down and pushes people away, shuts out life, it's the very thing that creates the difficulty for me in getting the love that I want more in my life. And it just because something happened in the visualization, and dear person to me was holding these parts of me, and I really started to melt. And then all this aliveness and ecstasy started, moving through, and I just saw my life in this connection of life and death, you know, goodness and evil, trauma and persecution and kindness and presence. And oh, it just was like so
Mhm.
beautiful, the wholeness of it all, the mystical oneness. I feel tearful. So really powerful. And thank you so much. Thank you, Yosi.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Beautiful. My God, it's like how beauty and terror, tragedy and joy are all woven together in our lives, in our every fiber of our being, life and death. And it is all part of the oneness. So yeah, that's so I'm so delighted to hear that that kind of came up for you. And I saw some other people resonate and put their hands on their heart.
And I want to say too, Yosi, you often remind me of my dad, which is it's so powerful
Okay.
for me. And it has been all the years I've known you. And my dad's Armenian, he went his ancestors, his parents through the Armenian genocide. And I'm always like working that material inside. And there's something about your presence and the spiritual presence and warmth that is it's very dear to me. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. I'm honored. I'm honored and touched. Yeah, we're working with so much transgenerational trauma, collective trauma, so much going on in our world. So, thank you for your gentle soul doing the healing work for yourself and for our collective. Yeah, it's a beautiful intention that we share here to heal ourselves so we may be a force for good in healing and spreading more light and goodness. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just aware of the time. Speaking of shared intention, I will just say that our next event is, I think, May 17th. Am I right, Pauline? Yeah. And it's going to be about intention. Intention is so important. It's like the North Star, it's the rudder that keeps us, tells us where we're going. So, we'll dive into discovering our deepest heart's desire and intention and our high aspiration and how we can use those to help guide us in our lives so we stay the course of where we want to go. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. And if anybody else want to say any last word, 2, 3 words, shout in the space.
Josie, thanks
Yeah,
for
thank you, Jeff.
Kathy, what you had to offer really spoke to me. Thank you so much. And what Angelina spoke of. And I'd have to say, Crystal, who owned not meditating and doing that meditation, that's pretty amazing. To be followed by then Kathy, who has a real presence in meditation. Thank you, Yoshi.
Yeah,
Peace.
peace, peace, and love and blessings. That's the blessings. All right. Hope you all have a great weekend. Good to see you. New faces, familiar faces. Irina, good to see you. I know you are where? Plugged into where? Yeah, you willing to say where you are?
Hi, Yosi. I'm in
Hi.
Thessaloniki in Greece.
Okay, so we have a point of light in Greece.
Thank you.
Okay, connected here.
Thank you.
How amazing, how amazing. All right, thank you again, and hope to see you again. And yeah, many, many blessings and lots of beauty and love in your life.